welcome back to Big Time Fantasy Football. You're here with your hosts, Nick and Zach, and today we are going to be getting into our NFL draft winners as far
Yep,
as
yeah, and
fantasy
like you said,
goes.
it's for fantasy specifically. So obviously, a situation like the Eagles, where they got two really good corners as a steal, there would be obvious winners, but not something we're talking about because it's not fantasy relevant.
If you haven't already, make sure to like the video, hit subscribe. Really helps us as a small channel to grow and become big time. So let's get right into it. My first draft winner is going to be Keon Coleman out of FSU. He got drafted at 201 by the Buffalo Bills. And I really like this draft landing spot for him. Stephon Diggs is now gone. Gabe Davis is now gone. That opens up about 241 targets in that offense. Josh Allen's an elite level quarterback. He can get him the ball anywhere on the field, whether it's deep or short. I know in the draft prospect profiles video, I talked a lot about how I don't like the way that Florida State used Keon Coleman. They pretty much used him on a lot of screen passes, short things, and then also just prayer balls when it's third and long, just trying to throw it up to him deep. And I think he can be useful basically everywhere on the field, intermediate routes, deep ball, and the short game. And with all those vacated targets, I think Josh Allen will have the ability to help him grow into that number one receiver role like Stephon Diggs was. And yeah, I just really love that they got an alpha type receiver for that room. What do you think about
Yeah, like you said,
Keon
it's a
Coleman?
great situation for him, just for the receiver room being so open. They could slide right in there and have a lot of chance for targets. He was a guy that was kind of on slide watch, where he could have slid down in the draft. There were some talks about that. He had a huge range of kind of outcomes. But top of the second round to the Bills, I mean, that's one of the best landing spots that you can get. So obviously, yeah, it was a great winner call. My first guy, I went with Javante Williams and Javante Williams owners, obviously, just because he was one of the guys kind of pre-draft that had a big chance, especially specifically running backs, that had a big chance to get replaced via the draft or something like that happen. He got off to a kind of a slow start. He was the backup behind Melvin Gordon year one, got hurt year two, and then was splitting touches with McLaughlin. I believe is his name, right? Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah, he was
Yep,
split in
Jaleel
touch with
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, which wasn't like a high caliber guy coming in. So he's got off to a rough start. A lot of people thought he might get replaced, but he's gonna at least should have another chance to kind of show out another year removed from injury here. So hopefully he can pick up some traction. I think he's a very talented guy. I know you want him to succeed because you have him on your dynasty team. So yeah, so hopefully he gets a chance to ball out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, he's on my dynasty team. He's on my Broncos, my favorite team. I think the only guy they really drafted as far as competition is Audric Estime, which he's more of that bigger, beefier guy, goal line scenarios. But I hope he turns out as far as the Broncos go. But as far as fantasy and Javante Williams, um, he didn't have elite production in college, as Audric Estime, that is. And we'll see how they pair those two together if they
Yeah,
keep
let me
him more
see
on the
here.
goal line
Estimate went
situations.
140 something, didn't he? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, I believe
Let's
it
see
was a sixth
here.
round.
All right, doesn't want to tell me, so you can move on. Oh, 147. Yeah. Usually those later picks aren't really pushing too much touch. So I would say everyone has a
All right.
chance, but not something to be
Yep.
worried about, I
One.
don't think.
Absolutely. And getting into my next guy, I think a big winner in this draft was Bryce Young. Carolina Panthers had quite a few draft picks, none really in the first round, but they ended up trading up to the 32nd overall pick. Got Xavier Leggett, a guy that I really liked in the draft process, looking at prospects. A guy I was really high on, and I think can overtake that room and become an alpha. They also got Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers in free agency. They picked up Jonathan Brooks to help in the running game, beefed up the O line a little bit. So I think Bryce Young is a big winner in this scenario. He got a few weapons throughout the draft, and he didn't really play to that 101 caliber last year, where he was picked first overall. But they really just didn't give him too much of a chance to succeed. That team was just so bad last year. Coach got fired mid-season. I think Bryce Young and the pedigree, if he can take a step forward this year, he has all the weapons to do it. Deontay Johnson, Xavier
Yeah,
Leggett.
definitely.
So
And
I
Bryce
really
Young
like
was a
Bryce
guy that a
Young
lot
this
of
year.
people just were out on right away after last season. But like you said, Panthers didn't give him a chance to succeed, so it would have been nearly impossible for anyone to do anything good in that situation. So I think this year will be a more telling year for sure. Now that he has a couple pieces, not that they're some great elite team now, but he at least has some people to catch the ball from him. That's not a 39-year-old Adam Thielen. I know he's only like 32 or 33, but still, give him some pieces. Hopefully, he can ball out. So yeah, that's a good situation, or a better situation for him, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see what Bryce Young does for sure. And my next
Better.
winner, I had JJ McCarthy. So just there was a lot of talks him in the draft where he could go. He was almost supposed to be a top five guy if someone was going to trade with the Chargers, get into that five spot to draft him. Who knows if someone tried and what situation would have landed in. But he did end up falling a little bit from that standard and going to the Vikings, which is basically, as a rookie quarterback, the best situation you could have gone into nearly. I mean, just having Justin Jefferson to throw to. So, that's going to help you look good in a lot of situations. So, yeah, I mean, there's talks that he's not the starter right now. It's Sam Darnold. He'll have to prove himself in camp, but even if he takes a few weeks to get in touch with the NFL, it's still going to be a great position just for him to slide in whenever he does get ready to make a start.
Yeah, absolutely. And his only real competition is Sam Darnold, which I think even if he doesn't start right away, he can overtake Sam
Yeah,
Darnold easily. He's the youngest QB prospect out of these guys that got drafted this year, and the
yeah, and I think
weapons are
Sam Darnold
insane.
would have
He's
to.
got the
He
best
can't
receiver
look
in the
good
league, like
like
you
to keep
said.
his job
And
all season. You have to look great, which is it in the range of outcomes for Sam Darnold? He hasn't showed it yet, so guess we'll see. But
absolutely. And my next guy is going to be Roman Wilson, who got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the back end of the third round. I really like how shifty he is. He showed pretty good production this past year at Michigan compared to how much their offense actually threw the ball. And he's a guy that really just finds a way to get open. He's very shifty. He's not gonna kill you down the field, but he's gonna. I think he's gonna take over that Deontay Johnson role. He is now gone to the Panthers, and there's a lot of vacated targets there, almost 100. And I really like him to take over that role, at least be a number two. We'll see if Pat Fryermuth can return to um, fantasy relevance and be good again. But I like him as the number two behind George Pickens. They got two quarterbacks there. One of them should be able to work, either Russ or Justin Fields. And a thing that I saw a lot in college is when J.J. McCarthy at Michigan would scramble, Roman Wilson would scramble with him and be able to move with him. And we know Justin Fields is a scrambler. He likes to throw on the get out of the pocket, throw on the run. And Russell Wilson also did a little bit of that throughout his career. So I love this landing spot for Roman Wilson. I'm a Michigan guy. It's great to
yeah,
see how
yeah, for
many
sure. And
of my
that
guys got
ability
drafted
to
this year. So.
kind of work with your quarterback on the fly is a NFL like a veteran type thing, and that can keep you on the field, make you a lot of money. So that's good. And yeah, good. Like you said, another guy where the targets are open, and that's really all you can ask for, just an opportunity to go out there and ball. So he has the chance. He's got a couple quarterbacks to work with. We'll see what he ends up doing with that. So the next guy I wanted to get into is one of the biggest winners, maybe the biggest winner, is Xavier, in my opinion, anyways, is Xavier Worthy. Going to the Chiefs with just a really shaky wide receiver room, especially with Rice suspension incoming. There's a lot of targets to be had there as well, and you're getting a pass from one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. So a speedster down the field should be a lot of highlights with him and Patrick Mahomes if everything works out well. I think Worthy wasn't a guy I was very high on, but I know that there was a lot of talks of him going to the Chiefs. So I think by far that's the best case scenario. There's a lot of teams where if he went there, I wouldn't be very excited for him at all. But again, playing for Patrick Mahomes, playing for Andy Reid in that offense, there's going to be some explosive plays opportunities for him.
Yeah, I mean, you like you said, can't really ask for a better landing spot for him. Um, I know a lot of people's minds will probably go straight to Tyreek. I don't think he's gonna have exactly that level of upside,
Yeah, he
but
has the speed.
I mean, it's a
So
good ceiling to shoot for sure. That speed is
yeah,
undeniable.
absolutely.
And my last guy that I'm going to be getting into is Malik Neighbors, which I'm pretty sure everyone expected him to go top 10. And there could have been a better landing spot with the Chargers if they picked a receiver, but there were pretty much a select few options for him to go to. And he ended up going to the Giants, which the offense, not great, but there's almost zero target competition, especially Darren Waller looking like he's probably going to retire. And I think he's got to fight with who Wandale Robinson maybe is the lead, which isn't saying much. And his situation kind of reminds me of a 2020 Jalen Waddle when he was coming out. The year before, there really wasn't many target, like, there was a lot of questionable pieces in that wide receiver room, and their offense didn't look great. And then when Jalen Waddle got there, his first year, he had over 1,000 receiving yards, over 100 targets, and I think that could be something similar to what um, Malik Neighbors will be able to do for New York. And if Daniel Jones takes a step up, is that guy that he was on his contract year, that'll be great for Malik Neighbors. If he's not, that's fine too because they'll probably have a good pick next year, be able to get a good quarterback next year. So, especially for dynasty purposes, I love this landing spot.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to go 5 to the Chargers. I was really convinced, but he didn't. He went to the Giants, which both situations, there's targets to be had. Hopefully, he can make Daniel Jones good. He's my third quarterback in our league, so hopefully, if he makes Daniel Jones look good, it's a win-win for both of them there. So, yeah, Neighbors is a guy, all the talent in the world. So hopefully, he can ball out and make Daniel Dimes look good. But my last guy is Papa Zeke. The Cowboys, I really wanted them. I was praying they would get Jonathan Brooks in the second. The Panthers snagged him before we got a chance, and then we didn't even look at running back from there. Every round I was waiting for Jalen Wright, Trey Benson, somebody, but we didn't get anybody. But we did sign Zeke. I still think he would be better as kind of like a backup, like a second punch, that power guy. But he got a starting job. He got a contract with Cowboys, so that kind of it left a lot of opening for him. So happy for Zeke. I'm happy to have him back. So he's definitely a winner in my book.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about an empty wide receiver room.
Yeah.
That running back room for the Cowboys is
I know
pretty
Royce
empty.
Freeman was
So,
our huge
and he's the lead
offseason
guy. He has the
signing,
most pedigree.
out of our two. So, whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't push the needle too much for
Yeah,
me,
but
even though he's
I
a
think
former
those are all the guys
Bronco.
that we had. We're gonna do some losers as well. There's probably a lot of more winners that we could have gone on. These were just our favorite four each that we liked. It's gonna be exciting to see what these rookies do, and then obviously we threw some non rookies out there too. But great class. We'll see what these rookies do.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yep.
that'll do it for us at Big Time Fantasy Football. Thanks for watching.